Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel Coins Most Valuable. Today, we're taking a close look at a coin you've probably seen hundreds, if not thousands, of times without giving it a second thought. It's the humble 1994 UK 2 pence coin. At first glance, it might seem like just another small copper coin rattling around in the bottom of your change jar. But like many everyday objects, when you dig a little deeper, there's a surprising amount of history, design choices, and even economic reasoning behind it. So let's rewind and talk about where this coin fits into the bigger picture of UK currency. The 2 pence coin was introduced in 1971, during what's known as decimalisation. Up until that point, the British monetary system was, let's just say, a little tricky. It was based on pounds, shillings, and pence, 12 pence to a shilling, 20 shillings to a pound. Not exactly the easiest system to use in everyday math. In 1971, the UK made the bold move to decimalize, basically simplifying everything, so there were 100 new pence in a pound. That's when the 2p coin first made its debut. In those early years, the 2p coin was made from bronze, which gave it a rich, warm color and a decent weight. It looked and felt like a proper coin. But coins don't just stay the same forever. As the decades roll on, governments and mints make small changes to currency, sometimes to update the design, sometimes for economic reasons. And that's exactly what happened with the 2p coin. By the early 1990s, the cost of producing bronze coins was rising. The Royal Mint, like any responsible mint, started looking at ways to make coin production more efficient. That's when they made a big change. Starting in 1992, they stopped making the 2p coin out of bronze and switched to copper-plated steel. It still looked the same on the outside, but the inside? Totally different. Steel is cheaper and easier to source in large quantities, and once you coat it in a thin layer of copper, it's hard to tell the difference. Unless, of course, you have a magnet. That's the trick. A bronze 2p coin won't stick to a magnet. A copper-plated steel one will. So if you've got a handful of old 2p coins and want to know which is which, just grab a fridge magnet and start testing. The 1994 2p coin was part of that new generation. Though it looked almost identical to earlier coins, it was part of the cost-saving strategy that would define modern British coinage going forward. So even though it's just a 2-penny piece, it represents a moment of practical adaptation, a quiet shift in the way money was being made behind the scenes. Let's talk about the design. On the front, or the obverse, you'll find the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, as you would expect. But here's where it gets interesting. This particular portrait was created by Raphael Maklauf, and it was used from 1985 all the way through to 1997. In it, the Queen is wearing the George IV state diadem, the crown she famously wore to and from the state opening of Parliament. It's a mature, regal portrait, one that balances tradition with grace. If you look closely, you can also see Maklauf's initials, RDM, at the base of the Queen's neck. Now flip the coin over to the reverse side, and you've got the badge of the Prince of Wales, a design that's instantly recognizable if you've grown up in the UK. It features a plume of 3 ostrich feathers, encircled by a coronet, with a ribbon below it bearing the motto Ich diene, which is German for I serve. This design was created by Christopher Ironside, one of the most prominent coin designers of his time. He designed the original decimal coin reverses in 1971, and his work stayed in use for decades. But here's a curious detail. The words new pence originally appeared on the reverse of the 2p coin when it was launched in 1971. That's because it was, well, new. But after 1981, the Royal Mint decided to remove the word new and simply use 2 pence. By 1994, we were well past that transition, so any coin from that year will just say 2 pence at the bottom. Now let's get into a bit of the collector side of things. Is the 1994 2 pence coin rare? Not particularly. It was a standard circulating coin, and millions of them were minted. If you're looking for investment-grade coins, this probably isn't the one that's going to retire you early. But that doesn't mean it's not worth anything at all. A clean, uncirculated version, especially if it's part of a proof set or in mint condition, can still attract a bit of attention from collectors who are looking to complete a year-by-year set. And here's something a bit more exciting: minting errors. Every now and then, coins come out of the mint with slight mistakes. Maybe the lettering is off, or the coin was struck off-center, or the copper plating didn't quite take. These are known as mint errors, And depending on how noticeable or rare they are, collectors might pay more than face value, sometimes significantly more. So if you come across a 1994 2p coin that looks a bit off, don't throw it out. It might just be a happy little accident worth a closer look. Another thing worth considering is the sentimental and historical value. A coin from 1994 might not seem ancient, but think about what else was going on that year. John Major was Prime Minister. The UK was emerging from a recession. Oasis released their debut album. The Channel Tunnel connecting the UK and France opened. And all around the country, these little 2p coins were being exchanged in shops, slipped into birthday cards, or tossed into fountains. Currency is a snapshot of a time and place. It's something physical that connects us to a specific moment in history, and that gives it a kind of quiet importance. Now, here's a fun little experiment you can try at home. Grab a bunch of 2p coins from your change jar, especially the older ones, and do a simple sorting. Group them by year, check them with a magnet, and compare the portraits of the Queen. It's surprising how many subtle changes you'll find once you start looking. And once you know what to look for, you start to realize just how rich and layered even the smallest denominations can be. The 1994 2 pence coin might not make headlines, and it won't cause a bidding war at an auction house, but it represents something steady and enduring. It's a coin that's been in pockets, piggy banks, vending machines, and wallets for decades. It's a piece of British everyday life, and it tells a story about how money evolves quietly around us, often without us even noticing. So next time you get a 2p in your change, take a second to look at it. Check the date. Feel the weight. See which portrait it carries. You might just be holding a tiny piece of history, and who knows, maybe even a little hidden gem. Thanks for spending time with me today and taking a closer look at a coin that usually doesn't get much attention. If you enjoyed this dive into everyday currency, be sure to subscribe for more stories from the world of coins. And let me know in the comments. Do you have any 1994 2p coins? Have you ever found a rare coin by chance? I'd love to hear your stories. Until next time, keep your eyes on your change. You never know what you might find.